So it's essentially a recap of the last 3 weeks and what started as Bourbon Boot Camp and has finished as just boot camp, which is fun. We love us some bourbon. Very, very excited about her opportunity to be an agency owner. I hope that there's folks in this room that want to be an agency owner. I promise you it is worth the effort and the action required. So that said, I want to get started today. Really, I look at this in 3 steps. It's the where do I find it, right? How do I actually populate it and use it? And then why does the data look the way it does, or coaching, right? So where do I find it? How do I use it? I'll pull down the data, and then why does the data look the way it does in a coaching opportunity? So the 10 blocks you heard me last week, paycheck plan for the week is the verbiage. I have always been a proponent of making sure that you have your plan actually down on paper. A plan that is not committed to some place written down will transfer into just a hope and a dream. So the difference is that you actually have it down on paper, digitally, or whatnot. Now that's your plan. Now it's on you to follow it at that point, right? But this gives us the track that we need to run on to give everybody the best chance for the paycheck plan for the week. Okay, so I'm gonna let Derek kind of call up that 10 blocks where it's at, and we're gonna work our way through a couple of examples, and then towards the end we'll field some questions and go from there.
All right, guys. So what's your guys' 10 blocks? So like what Tony said, this is your paycheck plan for the week. This is your game plan. Okay. I always like that phrase. Tony said, "No, by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail." Okay. So if you guys are not preparing for the upcoming week, and you guys are having that schedule, what you're going to do, what you're going to accomplish, you're going to be set up for failure. I would rather have a plan in place that I know that I'm going to have the best chance of having success than not having a plan, go out there winging it, knowing that I'm going to fail. Okay? Who wants to spend all that time out in the field for a straight week and having nothing to show for it? Now, when we log your guys' numbers at the end of the week, they're all zeros, it's not my red. Nobody wants that, right? There's a great way to prevent that. That's setting up your 10 blocks, so that way you guys have a solid game plan, okay? Now,
let me piggyback off that real quick, Derek. So with the paycheck plan for the week and 10 blocks, at the agent level, now speaking to you as SAs, GAs, ADs, I know that we want to invest in people and help them, house accounts, all of this. I'm speaking that language. There's not a person in this room that can say that there wasn't some assistance from the agency, and right, that's what we want. We want that. We want to invest in people that we need to invest in. So if it comes down to a coin flip situation with the people on your team as to who you want to invest in, this is another avenue that you can utilize to inspect who deserves it, right? So this is coaching, but it's also an inspection tool for you to be able to see, okay, who deserves it this week based on what I see. And hell, if it's a wash in terms of activity in the field, well, who did a better job of actually filling out the 10 blocks? There's your coin flip, because sometimes it's going to be real close, and you're going to have to make a decision. You're the leader on that problem to solve. So if I'm that person, I'm going to question, okay, why is this decision made? Well, it's made because most people are okay with decisions if you can explain the why to them. It's when you make a decision and you don't explain why, right? So Hunter, Dolan, you guys' activity was almost identical. However, Dolan, I looked at 10 blocks, in on time, it was filled out beautifully. Your paycheck plan was more complete. So Dolan, we're gonna go your way, right? That's reality, right? So utilize this for coaching, but it also helps you determine who deserves assistance if you're going to go that route. Okay, all right.
Tony, I think I heard this from you once too, and this kind of reminds me of a quote that you used. You probably got from Abraham Lincoln, but it said, "If you're going to chop down a tree and you're going to give me 6 hours to do it, I'm going to spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe." Okay, he's going to take time to prepare before he chops down the tree. He's going to waste 4 hours of that 6 hours just so that he's prepared and he can get it down within that time frame. Okay, so prepare for the upcoming week, guys. It's going to save you a lot of time out in the field, and you guys are going to like the results too.
Yeah, I love that example.
Uh,
Less swings with a sharper axe. You're still going to knock the tree down.
Yeah. So first thing we're going to do is that we're going to cover where you guys find everything. And then after that, then we're going to go over the pre-week inspections. And then we're going to go over the end of the day inspections and then how to coach. Okay.
I did share, didn't share it with you, I shared that, if you want to pull it up to go over.
It's in the
step
share.
by step.
Is that what's called step by step?
It's called, going out to blocks.
Okay.
I just shared it. The last page on that. That's all that is.
Okay. So let me go to Zoom here. Let me share my screen in Zoom. So they can see this as well. So first thing we're gonna do is just go over where you guys find everything. Now, where to find your guys' 10 blocks. You guys being managers, you guys should know where to find your 10 blocks, right? It's in Google Drive, correct? You guys know how to get there? Does anybody need help with that? No? And then the route in Epic, okay? You guys want to have these things pulled up whenever you guys are going to complete your guys' 10 blocks. Because your route is going to match, each day that you're going to put in your 10 blocks for the upcoming week. And that's just in Epic where you go to the map view, you'll see that. Around. And then you guys, for everybody, you're going to want to know how to get to the dashboards too, the individual dashboards, because that's where you're going to be able to, you're going to use that to be able to inspect people's times when they did each walk-in to make sure that it does line up with their 10 blocks, what they committed to. And then you want to have the new dashboard pulled up as well. I believe in the past trainings, you guys already went over like how to select the ranges, pull the data, right? Nobody needs help with that? Okay, gotcha. Okay. You guys all know how to get to this, right? I don't need to do this. You guys just did this last week, correct?
You could go through it one more time.
Go through it one more time?
Everybody,
All right.
like how to find each thing, in case they forgot.
All right, well, to find your guys' 10 blocks, you guys go to the Google Drive. And then on my team, I have it right here in Google Drive, where you go to my 10 blocks, and then be right here for down for the count. You would click on that, and that would open up the 10 blocks. You may want to use the search. If you have to do search, you type in 10 blocks, it'll pull it up as well. You guys, other teams, you guys might have it listed by your team names too, okay? But it is in your Google Drive. So this is where you guys find your 10 blocks, and this is where you guys are able to edit your 10 blocks. And then back. There it is. And then for your route, so what you guys want to do is that here, man, just split screen. This.
You will get a printed copy of this too at the end.
Yeah. To get to your map, you guys recognize this right here?
You're gonna have to go back to share the whole screen to only share that tab, so they can't see.
Oh, they can't see the split?
All they can see is you're filling out 10 blocks.
Oh, yeah.
Split. I'll make it easier. I'll go back and forth.
Yeah, whenever you
All
go
right.
to share, if you share your whole screen, then it'll go back.
So in your guys' Epic, you guys want to click on the map tab right here. Click on the map tab.
Okay,
Bill-
go back, hit stop share.
Oh,
Yeah, it's still just showing the document.
And then hit share again. full screen.
How do you share your whole screen? The screen right here? Right here? Entire screen? Share that.
Go to Zoom. Share.
You clicked on entire screen.
And then hit share.
So now they can see both?
Everything you see, they can see.
Thank you, IT.
Perfect. All right, that's awesome.
You know, at schools, they have a stipend for that. So. Just throwing that out there.
You get a spin.
I don't have to get that one away. Yeah, to give.
You get yes, you get a spin to give and a high five.
And a high five.
All right, guys. So in Epic, for your guys' okay. So in Epic, you guys can see for your guys' routes. When you're in Epic, you guys see all the tabs at the top. It says Home, Chatter, Liberty Links, Groups, Sales Genie Prospecting. You guys want to click on Map. Click on Map. It's going to pull up everyone's route in the map. Now this is how you guys get here, okay? And you guys have you guys are gonna be able to see all your layers. And then if you guys need to see particular routes, you will click on routes. Once you go to routes, I'm gonna click on all users. So that way you can see the routes of everybody that's under you too, plus your own. And then once you're all in here, then you can see all the routes that people have made, and you see that they are labeled so you guys can see the dates of each route, okay? And you can also see really quickly, you can see how many stops they have for each route. And this is where you can see them all. We're gonna pick the route from next week though too. What I want to look on, so we'll go to Bobby's. Bobby had a pretty good route. So click on this route right here. Remember, on Fridays is when you guys want to try to complete your guys' 10 blocks. You guys want to have it started. You guys want to have it filled out and start creating your routes. But if you guys do your 10 blocks on Fridays, then you're going to know how many packs you guys have to do for the upcoming week for each day. Okay. Nobody likes to come in here and is constantly, week after week, just doing 60 to 100 pack calls every week, right? It's not fun on Mondays. Why not lower that down by having your 10 blocks filled out, and you know how many you need for each day. So you know that you have to complete those amount of packs, and that way you can do the research and get it all done.
Well, to that point, Derek, I always looked at Friday as where Monday started. Like Friday afternoon was the beginning of my Monday. And we didn't call them packs, but we made those phone calls too when I was an agent 27 years ago or 20 years ago. But we called them surveys. And here's what I know. Do you think somebody is in a better mood to take that phone call from you on a Friday afternoon or on a Monday mid-morning?
Friday afternoon.
Hell yeah. You will pull more packs and get through them because just the attitude of people in general. Those are those little things, the psychology in sales, right? So.
And then get to the dashboard, just so you guys remember how to do that. You would click on this, and you want to click on dashboards right here, okay? The dashboards is going to pull up several different dashboards that you guys can utilize. This is where you guys can, the agents, you guys can train your agents to be able to fill out a lot of their data that they need to input into their 10 blocks after each day, so you guys can do your coaching calls, but they will get that from here. You will see the number of walk-ins that they do. They can pull in their DM percentage. They can pull in their conversion percentage. They can get all that from these dashboards.
The numbers are terrible. Look at that. 2 walk-ins.
We're going to click on those. We're going to click on the walk-ins. Just change, just like that. So this is where you guys are going to see the number of walk-ins that people have done that are under you. And we'll get to this in a second too. But you want to click on show details if you guys want to check their actual data to see the times of each route, you guys can see it right here. So whenever they log each walk-in in the subject that they put in when they log it, they're going to put the time and they're going to put the name of the business so you guys can see that, okay? This is in the dashboard. It's the only place that you can go to, as far as I know, where you can see that. Okay?
So you can't coach with data if you don't have the data to coach. It's at that point
Mhm.
just theoretical. I like to work in actual realism. It's numbers are numbers. So
You guys have to remember to check the range though too of the data that you want to pull from. If you guys don't do that, well, then your numbers are going to be off. So you can do it for in each. You can do it for a range of different days, or you can just do it just for that specific day. So I'm just going to pull from last week Tuesday. Then you want to click Run Report. Your Run Report is going to pull you the amount of walk-ins that were completed that day on each person. Okay. And then what's also nice too is that it tells you too whether it is a new walk-in or if it's a follow-up. This is a quick way as you guys can see the walk-ins to follow-up ratio, which is supposed to be 60-40. Okay. You want 6% new, 40% follow-up.
Is that what true false means?
Yeah.
True,
True false. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's true, it's a new walk-in. If it's false, it's a follow-up. Okay. So use
learning
that data.
stuff today.
Alliteration.
But that's for the dashboard, guys. Now, if you guys want to know where the new dashboard is, you want to scroll over to the right too. Let's go home really quick. Scroll over,
You
the
guys can
drop
see it,
down.
right? Can SA see the new dashboards? Okay.
Agents can.
For a
Yeah.
while, I couldn't see it.
I don't think they could at the very beginning, but
Okay,
now they
I
can.
was like, but, and then GA's blew up the Epic, you know.
Now they won't have all these dashboards. This is just because Tony has access to these.
It was like 3 months. It was 3 months, Hunter. It's like outrageous.
See, they
So the-
didn't have Diana there for IT,
Oh, yeah, that's definitely
and
not
that would
true.
have been
They
the
had
problem
Ian
would have been
Mullen.
solved.
What?
So then once you guys click on new dashboards, it's gonna bring up all these different dashboards. Now you guys as SAs, you're not gonna have near as many dashboards as Tony has right here. But what you're gonna have is that you wanna click on this worksite activities. This is gonna be all the worksite data that was logged for that week. And then here is where it will tell you the amount of walk-ins that you did. It'll tell you the DMs met, your DM conversion, closed cases, all that information right in here. What you want to do is click on custom date. If you don't want to pull it just for that day, and then again, you can click on the data. So it will pull all that information from that range. I'm going to set up because I'm probably going to do 8. I'm going to look at Wyatt's for this. And over here, you can select the agent or the data that you want to pull. Wyatt. But this is the new dashboard. Has everybody used the new dashboard before? Right? Okay. I'm not going to go into too much training on how the new dashboard works, but this is where you guys can pull a lot of data that you're going to need in order to put into your guys' 10 blocks. Okay.
It's also where you can go to check your agent's data to make sure that their 10 blocks is accurate.
Right. And remember, we have the saying that we've been saying for years now. If it's not in Epic, it didn't happen, right? So just because it's on their 10 blocks, and if it doesn't line up with what we see on these dashboards, it didn't happen. Okay. So make sure that it gets logged correctly. That's
So back before Epic and where you could put research and you could put the information in about the leads and all of that, we actually wrote it all down on a lead sheet. So you have a lead sheet that kind of looked a lot like what you would put in Epic now, and you would 3-hole punch it and put it in a 3-ring binder, and you had the 12-month tabs. So that's how you would do your follow-ups and those kind of things, right? So the point to this story is, whenever I would have a conflict with somebody that had a duplicate walk-in, or this is mine, no, this is mine, okay? My go-to was, let me see your lead sheet. Start right there. If you, I'm going to pick on you two again, if Dolan could produce the lead sheet and Hunter had nothing but a story for me, sorry, Dolan, you're moving forward with it, right? Because it happened on a lead sheet. You had it, right? If it happened in Epic, it happened. If you didn't put it in Epic, and this is my recommendation to you, if you have two agents and they didn't put it in Epic and they were taught and you can verify they know how to do it, right? You can't expect something if they haven't been shown. Then if there is a situation there where there's a conflict, it goes to the person that actually put it in Epic because it exists. Does that make sense? Now, you can take that further and you can see in Epic how far they have progressed on that lead. Walk in, pass the gatekeeper, presentation to the decision maker, essentially the bubbles as it used to be called, percentages now. So we would do that on the paper lead sheet as well. We would talk about walk in, pass the gatekeeper, appointment or presentation with decision maker, or scheduled to come back and get paperwork. And that was on the sheet. So now, same scenario, you guys are in conflict at X. Let me see your lead sheets. Hunter's got his lead sheet now, right? Dolan's got his lead sheet. I look at them. Dolan has actually presented to the decision maker and is waiting to come back in 2 weeks for a decision. Hunter has yet to get past the gatekeeper on his lead sheet. Who should get to continue with that lead? Dolan. That's right. That is part of the purpose of this information. Does that make sense? Okay. It didn't happen in Epic. It did not happen.
One thing about those sheets that we used to use that we filled out, one thing that I did like about them, because right now Epic has the convenience, but it was guaranteed that everybody looked at the percentages at the end of the day because you had to calculate them yourself.
You did.
Epic, yeah, gives it to you. But next thing I want to do, guys, so we went over the 10 blocks, we went over the route inspections, the dashboard, the new dashboard, so you guys should all know where to find that. Next, let's go over the pre-week inspection. So I'm going to look at Bobby's here that's on my team, since he already started his 10 blocks and he has it filled out for the upcoming week. So in Bobby's 10 blocks here, you want to, well, you're gonna want to check the time when he's starting each day, but I'm not going to go off Tuesday because Tuesday looks like he's going to be out with this SA and they're going to be running Danielle's route. So what I want to take a look at is possibly Wednesday for Bobby. Look at that. So I went to map, pulled up Bobby's route. Again, you guys don't remember how I got there? You click on routes. Then you want to change that from user route. You want to change it to all routes. And you want to click upcoming, and then it's going to have all the routes. And you can look at the date. Remember that you guys are supposed to put in the date and your initials, and then the area where you're going to be in wherever you guys create your guys' route. Okay. But whenever I look at Bobby's right here for next week. It's going to be October 16th, which is going to be next week, Wednesday. So he has that route. I'm going to pull that up, click on it. Now it brings you to the route. So according to Bobby's 10 blocks right here, if I go to Wednesday.
That's my timer telling me to leave. Hold on.
You take off, Tom?
Yeah.
We'll see you, bye. But if I look at Bobby's 10 blocks here, if I look at it as Wednesday, and I'm going to compare it to his Wednesday route to make sure that everything looks like it is correct. One thing that I do notice right away is that it says that Bobby's starting at 8 a.m. So I want to check the times first, start there. Well, over here on his route, it looks like he's leaving his house at 8 a.m. Remember, on your 10 blocks, it's supposed to be the time of when you walk into your first business, okay? So that's already incorrect. That's one thing that you just want to make a change to. So on his route, if he's going to do his first, walk into his first business at 8 a.m., we need to change this. So I would change this for just estimated arrival time. So it's about an hour. So if he wants, you want to bump it up at least an hour then. So now he's going to leave his house at 7 a.m., but then he's going to be at his first walk-in by 8 o'clock. And that does match his 10 blocks, okay? So get there at 8 a.m. Next thing you want to do is just take a look at the committed walk-ins. See you later, man. You too. You calm.
Hi.
I'm not playing you in fantasy, am I? So we want to look at committed walk-in amount. So for on Bobby's walk-ins, for Wednesday, he's committed to 10 in the morning, he's committed to 10 in the afternoon. 20 walk-ins. On his route, it looks like Bobby has 26 walk-ins total, but no, he actually has minus 2 because one to start is his home and the end is his home. So he actually has 24 walk-ins on his route. So he has plenty of walk-ins to get his 20 walk-ins for that day. Okay, which is nice. And then you also want to take a look too at his scheduled presentations and the scheduled follow-ups. So you want to take a quick look too at his layer tab. You want to make sure that he actually has those entered into his route. Terry, how do you get to that? On the, without
I just do what
exiting out the
you're doing.
route.
I scroll and it says appointment or it says follow-up on
Okay.
the route list.
Because you can, I don't want to exit out the route to go look at his
No, no,
letters.
yeah.
Mhm.
You're still looking, it's gonna.
So it would pop up if he has,
Log
yeah,
differently,
you log his
Include
appointment.
Business owner.
Because on his 10 blocks, it says he's just doing just doing walk-ins. I don't think he has any scheduled appointments for that day, but you can scroll through really quick to see if he does. And what I'm also taking a look at too, while I'm scrolling, I'm looking at the research. So he does have some research in each walk-in. Some of it's research from the pack call that he made. Okay. Yes, plant manager. So I didn't say anything. I didn't see any appointments presentation or scheduled presentations or any follow-ups. So his committed walk-ins look good. His route, no.
I like
Are they-
seeing the
are you guys-
research there. That makes, I know, Laura, I was actually looking over your shoulder the other day
So-
at that research. And one of the things I would be looking for is making sure there's more than one line of research.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago, like area of opportunity, having your questions already written out.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that
Dullest pencil remembers more than the sharpest mind.
Area of
so-
opportunity for that coaching conversation.
yeah, I was looking at too. So a lot of this research, some of it is bad. Some of it looks like he just has notes in here from when he did his pack. So there is research that needs to be done on this route for the upcoming week. And again, I think somebody said it, but have 2 to 3 questions for your research. Okay?
Absolutely.
Don't waste time being out in the field having no research, which means you're either going to wing it or either you guys are going to spend time to try to look it up in the car. Okay. It's going to take up a lot of time of your day. It's going to lower the amount of businesses that you guys are actually going to be able to get into that day. Questions is easy too. If you already did the research, I have the questions in here. It doesn't take me very long just to read over the questions, like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I found interesting. That's what I'm going to talk to the business owner about. That's how I'm going to connect to him and start that dialogue.
2 stops, man. Well, number 1, go to their webpage. And when you go to their webpage, you go to the About Us or Our History and or Meet Our Team. You're going to find everything you want right there. And then you go to social media, either their Facebook page or LinkedIn account. And again, you're going to find at least a talking point there. The example I always use is, hey, I saw on your webpage you won the 2023 Small Business Award in XYZ city for XYZ business. Right? That's a great talking point. And I've also gone to the social media and I saw that you were recognized by the Boys and Girls Club for donating to the 5K run each of the last 3 years. I have a quick question for you. Do you run in the 5K? There is that open-ended question that we're talking about. Research is great, but you can't be delivered as a statement. The first piece of it can, but you have to end whatever rapport you're building with research with an open-ended question. Okay? That's how you're going to facilitate the actual conversation and dialogue.
In this note, whenever you guys are looking at the route really quick, just do a spot check, look at his route, you know, if they're blue collar businesses or white collar businesses, you shouldn't have just all white collar businesses. It's going to affect your guys' success in trying to get to DMs for that day. Okay, it should be a mixture of both. Take a look at the businesses too. See which ones that usually you have to get there early in the morning to try to catch a DM. Okay, look at construction companies, look at landscaping companies, look at businesses where it'd be best to get there early, and then switch them around to make sure that your route is optimized. Do you guys want me to go into actually the routes and everything, doing the route inspections, or is it?
Do you have questions on that?
Because I was thinking about just moving on because I want to get through everything and I want to be able to do to the coaching and I want to get into the end of the day.
So to me, you now know where to get the information, right? We know what we want to populate, and obviously you can see actual walk-ins, DMs met, appointment set, committed. So I know last week we went through, okay, here is my projected start time, 8 a.m., which is what is that 8 a.m. time actually? That's the door I'm going through. That's not my front door opening, right? So we check that out, right? Then we look at where is that last projected time, and we're able to then go and look in the history, like Derek was showing earlier, where you can see the times. Then you're going to inspect in the 10 blocks. Does all of that match, right? Now, I get that some people can misconstrue all of this as busy work and or, wow, this is a lot. Let me ask you, if you knew that every column that you inputted information into was worth X dollars to you and your team, how many of the columns would you get filled out on a weekly basis? Because that is the reality. The tighter your plan, your paycheck plan for the week, the more likely you are to earn one, right? So I want you to look at it like we used to talk about dollar per door was an exercise that we had. I know Hunter's shaking his head. So dollar per door was we would take the number of walk-ins for the week and we would divide it into the ultimate premium that was written on any case that you closed in that week, and it told you the value of every one of those doors that you walked in. Even though only one of those doors closed for you as a business, you still needed the other 59 doors to get to the one that closed. Because if you knew the door that was going to close for you, you would have gone to it first. So the dollar per door would have been 100% on that one door. But you got to have those other doors to make it happen, right? This 10 blocks, I want you to look at it almost dollar per column. The more you actually have filled out and you can look at, research, coach the data, the higher the opportunity to earn income. Okay? All right.
And I don't see a route in here for Thursday for why it's 10 blocks. He just has one made just for Wednesday so far. Okay. Again, he's putting this together today.
Well,
So
Can you?
Is that an older version? Because
No,
have
not
a backup route.
for this isn't you, Wyatt. This is
Well,
Bobby.
you said Wyatt.
Oh,
but,
yeah, Bobby.
But in order to do the end of day, you're gonna have to go to like Wyatt's 10 blocks from last
I will.
week and do the.
I will.
Yeah.
But this is just for Bobby's right now, though. So Bobby should be working on getting another 20 qualified packs for his Thursday route. That's what he's going to have to do, at least for Monday. And then for Friday, too, he needs to get what his morning game plan is going to be Friday, and he has to get those packs as well. But he already has enough, though, for his Wednesday route. And you put the number of packs that you need to complete yet. You can put those in there at the top, too. So whenever you come back on Monday, you know exactly how many you need to make. for that route. Now to do the end of the day, what I want to do is I'm going to go to, let's go to Wyatt here. Wyatt has not updated his 10 blocks yet, still 10 blocks from last week. And he had a pretty good week from last week. So I want to pull his 10 blocks for Wyatt. What I want to do is I want to pull up the dashboard and I just want to look over his 10 blocks from last week. You guys are supposed to be using this 10 blocks and completing these, fill out this data each day. So that way you guys use it for your coaching calls. Now you guys as essays too, I get it. You guys are busy, okay? One thing that I would probably do as an essay, if it was me, instead of me going in here every single day and filling out their data for them, I would probably show my agents where they can go to the dashboards and they can enter the data in themselves. So that way, whenever you guys call them at the end of the day and do your training calls, coaching calls, you guys can just already have the data and you just look at it and you know how to coach them. Okay, but I would train your agents so that they can pull the data and they can put it in their 10 blocks. Okay, it's one thing off your list that you guys don't have to do. Okay, I would definitely do that. But if they're not doing it, well, then you will have to go in here and you will have to enter in the data. Does that make sense? So I want to look at Wednesday or Tuesday here. It looks like Wyatt had 2 enrollments.
Derek, let me piggyback off of the importance of, again, 10 blocks, having the research, having everything ready to go. I just pulled a number that I wanted to share with you. This is our 4-week average on decision makers met. This means we have gotten past the gatekeeper, we did the walk-in, and we are in front of that decision maker. And our goal is to convert them into an appointment or a presentation. Our DM met percentage over the last 4 weeks is a 36% average, which is very good. That means that almost 4 out of every 10 doors we're walking in, we're going to get to a decision maker. Be prepared. Have your person be prepared when that person gets in front of them. I think sometimes we get surprised. It's like, oh shit, they're here. I get to talk to this person now. And if you have research, you don't have to think about what to say. It's there. So I wanted to see what that number was. And that is a very encouraging number, because most people will tell you the hardest thing to do is to get to a decision maker as a new agent. Then let's make a friend, right? Okay.
You're gonna want my Thursday route with that, because I had a backup route made in case my enrollment didn't go well. But my enrollment did go well, I ended up using that route for Thursday instead.
So Wyatt, let me make sure I heard all of that good information that you just said correctly.
That's why I can't find my route for Tuesday.
So you said
Um,
I had a backup route in case my enrollment didn't go right, so that I could have a paycheck plan for the day and / week, but it did go well. And since I was already prepared, then I was able to use that still in that week, but just not on that same day, right?
Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that, Wyatt. I was
Yeah,
looking
I
at
thought
it.
you were scrolling.
Yeah, yeah, that's perfect. Whenever you guys have enrollments on that day, you don't 100% know how that enrollment's going to go. Okay, that enrollment could get rescheduled. You know, they could have a whole bunch of employees that are sick that day and have some kind of illness going through the business. You know, get to reschedule. You could finish early too. I mean, you could get through real fast. So you want to make the best use of your time. Have a route made for that day. Okay, regardless of whether or not you think that how that enrollment's going to go. Have a contingency like White did, and you can use it elsewhere too if you do have it already made. But on Tuesday, so White reuse this route.
Yeah, I
Why-
like
why-
that, by the way.
if
Wyatt,
you're
that
gonna-
was good.
If you're going to reuse a route that you used previously, that you had made previously, but you didn't use it, can you still change the title of it? 9-3. So I would suggest you changing the title on the route since you moved it to a different day. Okay. But you want to open up the route.
Was it the date for it?
You have 9-3,
Yeah.
but you didn't use it for that day. Use it on October 1st.
Well,
Nine-
how else am I supposed to let my AD know that it was actually meant for Tuesday, you know?
So maybe you go 9-3 run 9 whatever, right? Because then we know it was run on
It
next
wasn't
date.
the original plan.
You can just
Right.
open up the,
But that's good, because let's say your agent does that. you're able to see that they pivoted like you did. And that's not a bad thing, right? You had the backup route. Now, to Derek's point earlier, I just want to do some math. You should have a route on the day that you have an enrollment if it's a 10-person enrollment. I know I've seen in the past where we're like, yep, I got an enrollment today. Awesome. All right. So what, like 40 people or 30? Nope. Got 10 people. Be there all day. So the math on that is even if we were at 20 minutes per person, and we say 15, but let's say 20. You're talking about 200 minutes, or you're talking about 3 hours and 20 minutes. What are we doing with the other 5 hours of our day?
I do believe that day would actually serve as a good example for your point because I had 7 employee enrollment in the morning and then 20 employee enrollment in the afternoon. And I only saw one person in the morning. So what did I do for the rest of my time right there?
Yeah.
Pretty
And we could sit there and be sorry that we didn't see those other 6 people, or we could go out and try to find a case that gets us another 10 people to see.
Hey,
I
Wyatt,
think in the meeting of that time, I got an on-spot presentation because of that.
That's good.
Good example.
Wyatt, so on Tuesday, was it the 9-3 route that you used?
Yes, yeah.
It was?
What's Tuesday?
Would have been 7th October, 10/7.
Or, yeah, it would October 8th would have been,
Yeah, it's listed as 9-3, but
yeah.
Whatever route is on for.
Okay, so the,
The Thursday?
yes, that's Thursday, 10-3.
Yeah,
So was that one?
I must have put the 3 on there. That's, I guess I'll confirm that.
Okay, well, White, it looks like,
10.
so it looks like you had some,
No, I have 10/8/24. Yeah, that's the route that was meant for Tuesday.
yeah, we're gonna go over Tuesday right now. You had 2 enrollments that day too, so I get why you only had a handful of walk-ins that day. You had on here that you're gonna start at 8 a.m. Again, that's when you're gonna walk into your first business. Since your enrollment's starting at 10 o'clock, you can get a couple walk-ins in beforehand. You have here that you're gonna do your first walk-in at 8 a.m. So that looks good. Lines up. One thing that I would tell you, Wyatt, is if you're gonna do some prospecting beforehand, I would have put in the area where you're gonna be doing the prospecting. Okay. And you did put in 5 walk-ins. Looks like for your route, you had 6 walk-ins for that morning. You were trying to do 5, so you had plenty of walk-ins. Also put in your start and end point. Put in your house too, so it optimizes your route the best. Okay. That's what I noticed. And then next thing I do want to take a look too, I want to look at his walk-ins. So again, you guys go to the dashboard, it's already pulled up. You guys want to go to show details, and it's going to pull up this list right here. Again, you guys can see what was new and what was follow-up. You guys can also see in this, the business that they went into, and you also see the time that they went in there too. So it looks like Wyatt did his first walk-in at 8:20 in the morning. But I think you guys know too, when you guys log these in to Epic, you guys log them in after your guys' first walk-in. You log it when you get back into the car, right? So it's going to be a little bit delayed. So you probably did get there around 8 o'clock. Okay. And it looks like you did your next walk-in, Wyatt, at 8:30. And then, so you did walk-ins all the way up to, looks like your last walk-in was 9:37 before you had your 10 o'clock enrollment. And then on average, we usually make the enrollments at 15 minutes for an employee, per employee, whenever you guys are sitting with an employee at enrollment. So that way you can guesstimate what the time's going to be and how long you're going to be at that enrollment. I think on the new 10 blocks, you guys can adjust the time though. If it takes you longer, 25 minutes or 20 minutes, you guys can adjust the time accordingly, but it will calculate how long your enrollment should take. Okay. One thing I would tell you to do too is since you put 7 employees and you put, I would put in there that's a national enrollment too, right?
What is EEV?
It's employees, but
I thought that meant employee enrollment.
eligible employee. So put enrollment in there since credit for involved though.
Dude, that was good though.
And then
No, I always get that.
I would merge your cells too.
Um,
It's a little easier to understand if you merge those. but
that's
it's a
how it
block
used to
out.
be too, and I was just trying to get with what you guys.
Right.
So like I put it at 10 because it's at 10.
Right,
I thought
and
that's
then-
what you guys do.
Yeah,
It
and then you
is.
just merge underneath it. The amount of times, the number of blocks that you need to meet that many employees. And then that way, that's why we would say if you color block it, and it's, then we know that that's what that's doing for that chunk of time.
Is there somewhere that says what the color code is?
You can set up your own, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do whatever color.
Make
you
it
want.
green for enrollment.
Oh,
Green, enrollment means money.
it's pretty.
So there,
Green,
if
money.
you scooch over to, I can't tell.
But I would
You have, there's a key, you
Have
can
it-
make your own key.
scroll to the right or
There's no key in there.
Yes.
No,
No,
because-
because yours is the only one that did that, and I didn't copy all of those into everybody else's clips after.
we'll make it.
That was not gonna-
Because I saw you pull up Bobby's and his was color coded, right? Was it hit with the
Yeah.
And the white merge cells too for how long your enrollment's gonna take.
Gotcha.
Okay. So 10 o'clock, it'll probably take you to noon, lunch, and then you had another enrollment too. 20 employees to start at 1 o'clock. Did you, for 20 employees, did you really think that you're gonna have time to prospect afterwards, seeing 20 employees
why I
at 1
said
o'clock?
Backup.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
I got you. I see you over there. Your backup, right? I like it.
Well, here, if you're gonna merge the cells with the amount of time that it takes to put in, to do your enrollment, it would take them all the way to 5 o'clock to see 20 employees roughly, wouldn't it? So, what do you,
You just write at the back end of
yeah,
that,
so I would,
right where it says,
It looks beautiful.
where he's got, game over at Alton, I put in parentheses after that, 9 prospect, in-person prospect. meetings at the back. We just make it tag longer.
you do something like, something like that?
Yep.
That looks better.
That way then you can visually see what you're doing this time.
And White, you were, were you prospecting in Thopto that morning, I believe?
Yes.
So why this, yeah, I would make your 10 blocks looking like this for that day, okay? And we'll have our own color code on the 10 blocks you guys can follow and you guys can color code everything. And the next thing you guys want to do, so once you did look at this, you guys can look at the routes. The time helps you guys a lot, so make sure that they know to put the time in there. That's the only way that we can validate when they started their day and when they did the first walk-ins, okay? But it also tells us how long it takes.
Also, you know how to, if they forget their time, does anybody know how to go in and see that anywhere? They forget to put the time. click on the actual lead there, Derek, where it's underlined.
Mhm.
All right, it'll open the lead. And then if you scroll down, at the bottom, the very bottom, it'll tell you when the last modified by Wyatt at what time. Okay? If your agent forgets, you're trying to figure it out.
That's a useful tool. Yeah, so if they forget to put it in there and you guys are trying to check the times of when they did each walk-in, you guys can check it right there. Okay. Again, that's the way. You just go back, you just click on the lead, and you guys just scroll down to the very bottom. It says when it was last modified, but then it gives you the date and the time right here.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
I just have a habit of just looking at my phone and be like, oh, this is the time it is right now. It's time of punch.
And that, for the most part, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not splitting hairs, but this is mostly something this is it. Or if you had an agent that you had concerns with that was not insurance correctly, that would be where you would go.
Yeah. But it's more like when it's like 6 p.m. or something. And I'm like, wow, that's gonna look weird. And I was trying to follow.
That's gonna look weird.
But this is where you guys can definitely, the times can help you guys with having those conversations too about accountability. When you guys look at the times, you guys can see if they're actually accurate or not by looking at it. But you guys can also take a look and you can see if they're logging them, and you can see if they takes them about 5 minutes to do a walk-in, and they're just enter in their walk-ins. Well, you know that might not be completely accurate because how in the hell are you getting in each walk-in? When it only takes you 4 to 5 minutes. Okay. So it's a good way that you guys can definitely look at that and verify whether or not that is correct. Next thing you guys want to look at too, you guys want to go to the new dashboards for entering in your guys' information. So for this day, I want to go to Wyatt where we have this pulled up. So you guys want to scroll down to the bottom here. So again, if I was you guys, I would train your agents to do this. And they can do it with the regular dashboards. But if you guys have to do it yourselves, you guys can do it easily from the new dashboard. For that day, actual walk-ins that he did. So we're there. He did 6. DMs met. At 2. Appointments. 0 that day. Scheduled presentations. He didn't have any for that day. On the spot presentations, he gave 1. Nice. And closed cases. He had 0. So we use the old 10 blocks, Terry. Don't you actually have drop downs now where they select times?
Yeah, and it should be,
Okay.
you should be looking at your route.
Yellow blocks, yeah. So it says first walk-ins. You guys want to go to that tab? First walk-ins. You guys can look at this.
That's the actual.
No,
that's
route. Yeah. So you can verify when they route first walk-in time at 8 a.m. Terry actually doesn't let me edit that. Doesn't let me edit that. Oh, there it goes. No, works out. So he had 8 a.m. and he actually did his first walk-in. Last walk-in for his route. It's 11:56. Wait, is that correct? Did you do a walk-in at 11:56? Which HS? HS.
Yes. What day is that?
It's still on Tuesday. When you had your 2 enrollments.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's 1700? Is that 5 o'clock? I'm assuming?
Military time, 5 o'clock.
Okay, subtract 12 from it. Gotcha.
That's military, man.
So he had 5 p.m. Why did you do your last walk-in at 11:56? So why on your 10 blocks, if you were planning on doing walk-ins, you had that enrollment at the end of the day, I would maybe change that on your 10 blocks, okay,
Good, fine.
for your route. Because you're only planning on doing walk-ins in the morning. Number of walk-ins on the 6 on your route.
It's like I wasn't planning on doing any walk-ins at the end. Well, I
Right.
mean, I had, you know,
So this is route last walk-in time. So it's wants to know on your route when you're going to do your last walk-in.
oh, I didn't put that.
And the number of walk-ins, you had 6, Wyatt. And then the actual walk-ins, Wyatt, you actually logged all 6. You did every walk-in on the route. Appointment schedule and follow routes. You didn't have 0 for the day. You had no appointments. You had no. Arrow, Diane.
I saw that.
I wouldn't have laughed.
Shut up. I'm gonna laugh louder.
So this is how you guys enter in the data at the end of that day, okay? What I would encourage you guys to do is have these tabs pulled up. And I like doing the split screen, so that way I can easily transfer over the information really fast, okay? Everybody has their own method, but I like to do it like this, so that way I can just flip back and forth, and then I can just go ahead and I can just enter it in, okay? Does anybody have any questions? If I do the split screen like this, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but if you guys have a Microsoft computer, if you guys just hit start and then you just hit the arrow key, that's where it allows you to do the split screen. But that does make it a lot easier whenever you guys are entering in your data. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on actually just going through the actual route to make sure it lines up with the 10 blocks, or seeing the start and end times of each walk-in? Does anybody have any questions about any of that, or entering in the actual follow-ups?
So, where it has like the walk time, actual first walk time, all the way down to appointment schedule, follow-up on route, and then it goes actual schedule follow-up. Is that our space to set up appointment schedule both for the week prior? Yeah, I'm just confused of the two.
So he's talking about this right here, Terry, where it says actual appointment scheduled / scheduled follow-ups completed. And then, so it's how many appointments that you, or scheduled follow-ups that you actually had on your route for that week or that day. And then how many of those did you actually complete?
So, yeah, so what we're looking for, the yellow should be what's on your route. So the reason that we wanted it there is because then when you go to check their route, you're looking for, say, appointment or follow-up on that route list, right? In the actual day?
So it's not like
No.
how many appointments you set.
No.
It's about like how many
No.
appointments.
How many are on your route?
Because on that route for that day, you should have went through your layer tab, and you should have entered in your appointments, and then you should have also entered into the scheduled follow-ups that you had into your route.
So something
And
got
then-
canceled, it was like, you
Your
had one
actual day would be
scheduled,
different.
you
Yeah.
didn't complete that.
Right, this is what you entered, and this is what you got completed, okay? He knows about the day. But again, yeah. This information will be handy though on your 10 blocks whenever you guys just call them up and you guys do your midday and end of the day conversations with your guys' agents, okay? Instead of you guys having to go in here and looking at all the Epic data, it'll be a lot easier just pull up your 10 blocks and just having it all right here, so that way you guys can just go through it with them. Okay. Any questions? Does anybody have any questions?
Printed off that little packet. I gave everybody one so you can flip through it. It kind of says highlights at the top of the other pages of like where you use it at and the steps. It's a lot of words, a lot of pages, but it's you know, it's just very laid out, very thorough.
Terry, did you just share this with me?
I have shared it with you. Yes, I shared it with you, and
Okay.
I shared it with Matt, and then Diana. So ADs have it. And
Okay, so we do actually have instructions of what you guys can follow that will help you with this. It's in the Google Drive. One thing that we'll do, you said that we'll email this out to them.
I shared it with you.
Yeah.
Right. So you can share with your team if you want.
I'm talking about like Kansas City.
Oh, I did send it to Matt.
You did send it, Matt? Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt, you can actually print off these pages here, and you guys give them to your team, so that way they can have it, or you can email it to them too, so that way it's easier for them to find, but they can follow this. It tells them exactly what they need to do end of the day calls, do their prep, and where to find everything. All right, that's actually everything that we're going to cover for today. It's 3:10. So now everybody should be working on their 10 blocks, getting it done for Monday, and then finishing up on creating your routes. Then we're
Thank you, sir.
ready. Hold on, let me find out where it's.
I got you, man. I ain't rushing you yet.
I know we want to do AP.
I got everything ready. So I was going to ask you a few things on. I have a few ideas, so we can maybe get a code in.
Oh, yeah.
Because we have a.
Forgot.
Are you muted?